And thank you, all you everyday heroes who show up in school and teach our kids every day, and you need to be thanked again and again and again. Thank you. I also want to thank the everyday heroes in this room and throughout the state of Florida who stopped SB 6. SB 6 was a nefarious, invidious, meretricious attack on the profession of education. And the teachers and parents of Florida showed the nation what happens when you stand together and how you can make a difference. Do it again. You know it's going to come back in the next legislative session. You're going to have to go back out in the streets. You're going to have to reach out to people across the community, make parents your partners, and stop it. We can't let it happen to this state or to the nation. You know, Florida is a state that has actually shown amazing progress in both math and reading on the national assessment. It's outperformed the national averages. It's beaten almost every other state in the gains that you and your students have made. The press in Florida should be singing your praises. The legislature should pass resolutions thanking you for your accomplishments. But instead, you've had to endure constant criticism and complaints. Shame on them for not giving you the credit where credit is due. We're on a path in this country to doing serious damage to American public education. There are powerful forces in this country that want to privatize public education and dismantle the education profession. And I'm here today to say to you, don't let them do it. Stop them. Those who want to privatize public education and to undermine professionalism call themselves reformers. They're not reformers. They're applying corporate thinking where it is inappropriate. Children are not products, and learning is not a manufacturing process. Their ideas are wrong, their policies are wrong, they have no basis in research or practical experience. They will set American education back 150 years when teachers could be fired for any reason and when families were left on their own to fend for themselves. These corporate reformers have a lot of money and a lot of power, but they're still wrong, and you should not compromise with them. They say that one of their goals is they want to make teaching exciting. It'll really be exciting when you don't know how much you're going to be paid and whether you're going to be fired tomorrow. That'll be exciting. The corporate reformers, they love Hurricane Katrina. They love it. They use this metaphor all the time. It's their metaphor for their favorite approach, which is wipe the slate clean, start over. Secretary Duncan said that Hurricane Katrina was the best thing that ever happened to the public education system in New Orleans. NBC and this programming that took place for a week in September had a panel discussion. It's called, Does American Education Need a Hurricane Katrina? Is that disgusting or what? Last spring, you may recall, Newsweek had a cover story, and they gave the game away. The cover story, it said in big, bold letters, the key to saving American education. And all over the cover, it was written again and again, we must fire bad teachers, we must fire bad teachers. Well, inside the story in Newsweek, it said, speaking of Katrina, this is a wonderful model for the country. It wiped out public education, made it possible to start from scratch in New Orleans. Most kids are now in privately managed charter schools. And the children that no one wants are in the remnants of the old public school system. The children who have high needs, the children who can't pass the state test, they're not in the charters, they're in what's left over of public education. The union in New Orleans was wiped out. Teachers there have no job rights. They're at-will employees. There's a rapid turnover of young teachers. Newsweek is describing all this in praiseworthy terms. They said the schools are staffed by teachers who work very long hours, who burn out after 2 or 3 years and are replaced by other young teachers. And look at the cost savings. No pensions, no seniority, lots of teachers at the bottom of the salary scale. It's good for the balance sheet. So what if research shows that the weakest teachers are those in their first 2 years of teaching? These self-styled corporate reformers insist that teachers don't need any special professional preparation, that principals need little or no experience in the classroom, and that the best superintendents have no experience in education at all. And they say, well, this lack of experience frees them to think and act in innovative ways. But in reality, their lack of experience and knowledge causes them to misunderstand the complexities and the challenges of teaching and learning in America's schools today. And because they have so little experience and knowledge, they rely far too much on data as their guide. Because they don't understand curriculum and instruction, and they don't understand children. What's going on now is what would be called, in Naomi Klein's term, the shock doctrine in education. This is a scenario that has many supporters in the media, the big foundations, on Wall Street, and in Washington, D.C. All of these people love the power of transformation. They're excited by what they call creative destruction. So what if there's some collateral damage, people's lives? It's not their problem. They love the idea of tearing institutions apart and starting over. They never stop to think about fixing the system. They love the idea of blowing it up, even if they aren't quite sure of what will take its place and whether it will be any better, whether it might even be worse. They just want to turn the schools over to the marketplace, trusting children to the free market system. So we have two competing narratives today. One of them you saw, if you saw it, or certainly heard about it, in this movie, Waiting for Superman. And this is the way the narrative goes. I saw the movie, I reviewed it. It's in the current issue of the New York Review of Books. You can Google it online at nybooks.com. But the narrative goes like this. Public education is broken. It's broken beyond repair. It needs to be run like a business with competition, bonuses for higher test scores, punishments for lower scores, hiring and firing employees who have no job protection and no hearings. The private sector must take over more schools. We must replace teachers with more online instruction. We need tough managers who will rely on data to fire more teachers. If we fire enough teachers, our schools will get better. If we can't call up a Hurricane Katrina, then we should turn over control of the schools to a mayor and let him do the work of those who want to privatize public education and whittle away the due process rights of teachers. There's another narrative. Public education is a public good. Public education is the cornerstone of our democracy. Public education belongs to the people, not to the mayor, not to the business community, and not to the Gates Foundation.